welcome back to Sippin with Stephen. What an exciting episode we have as we head into September. September is National Bourbon Month, and I could think of no better guests that I have than the two friends I have next to me, Adam Johnson of the Kentucky Distillers Association and Mandy Ryan of the Kentucky Distillers Association, who are going to cover a couple different topics. As we've come out of this pandemic and people are starting to travel again and hit the distilleries, there's some exciting things going on with the Kentucky Distillers Association, and one of them is the Field Guide. I'm going to let these folks tell you a little bit about this new publication and how the two trails of the Heritage Trail and the Craft Trail have been combined. Adam, would you kind of give the viewers a little bit of an overview and background of that?
Sure, and I'm glad you said welcome back. I mean, that is kind of our tagline from our videos we used to do during the quarantine. So that was,
I don't mean to steal
that was very appropriate.
I'm
very
sorry,
appropriate. But yeah, so the new Field Guide, I mean, it's appropriate that we're here at the Fraser because this is the starting point of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. And this is a great way to start your journey. If you're thinking about visiting us, you can order these online. You can pick one up here. You can pick it up at your first distillery stop. And it is interesting holding this in our hand because I feel like it's our baby that is now out in the world. It has aged us quite a bit, producing something that used to be a couple pages in our passport to a 150-page book that is chock full of recipes, itineraries, all the information you need from the distilleries is in there. So it's been a labor of love, and we're glad people are really liking the new books. And I think Mandy can talk about the biggest change about combining.
Yes, so for those of you who didn't know, we have had the Kentucky Bourbon Trail experience for a long time, since 1999. We are 22 now.
Yeah, we missed our 21st birthday last year.
But the craft tour was started in 2012, I believe, to highlight some of our smaller distilleries in the state. So we found that our visitors were a little bit confused by having the two passports. So we put it all together for you in one big book. Which is great. 37 distillery experiences. You have little passport stamp spots. You have cocktail recipes, helpful guides as to whether they serve food, cocktails, things like that. So it's a super fun change.
Well, I will tell you this. I call it the resource guide. I know it's the field guide because of what you just said. There are so many resources in there to how to make cocktails, histories of the distillery, locations, miles from one place to another. It truly is a resource that you can keep in your vehicle. I know with the other passports, they were smaller and it was nice because there was no charge. From a consumer standpoint, this is a very usable thing that I have one, I will hold on to it, and I find a lot of value in this. So another thing I wanted to ask you guys, when we get phone calls from folks coming and calling about the Bourbon Trail, a lot of them really don't know a whole lot about it. Mm-hmm. They think it's an established thing, and we can do that with our transportation partners. Some of them, like Pegasus and Minjula Tours, have established routes and pre-planned things that they can do, and we love those guys. That's fabulous. But most people, or not, I shouldn't say most, a lot of people are coming in on their own. They're kind of exploring on their own, and I think part of what I would have you all kind of tell them is, if you're talking to those type of folks, what is the best way to jump in and explore the Bourbon Trail? Because if they go to the website and they don't know that, it can be a little bit intimidating for those who are outside of Kentucky and who maybe don't know how to approach it. If you were coming in, and I know you're from New York, Adam, but let's say you came in for the first time and were coming to the Bourbon Trail, how would you tell somebody, one of your friends there, to approach it?
Well, you're right. It is intimidating to people who have not been before. I mean, Mandy and I have been in the KDA for a while, and we know all about the people who call and say, well, where do I start walking the Kentucky Bourbon Trail? Or can I bring my horse on the Kentucky Bourbon? Is that kind of trail? Those days are a little bit farther behind us. I think people know a little bit more, but it is still intimidating, and I think mainly because of what Mandy just said, that there's 37 distillery stops. Where do you start? How much time do you have? These are the questions we typically ask the visitors, and that's what you guys do such a great job of here, is helping visitors kind of tailor that trip, because we don't want people to be intimidated by it. So our website has a ton of resources, whether you're looking at it from geographic, whether you're looking at it from date, whether you're looking at your favorite distillery or you're discovering a new distillery. Mandy wrote all those itineraries on there, so just trust Mandy's judgment on where to go.
I like to eat and drink.
Yeah, so she's got you covered on that. So we just definitely advise people, start with you guys, give a call if you don't have a question, but our website should have you covered on just about everything.
Terrific. And then one last thing before we do what is a Sippin' with Steven tradition, which we're going to make a cocktail.
Yes.
September is National Bourbon Month. You guys are swamped. All the distilleries are swamped. You know, we're heading into Indian summer, into the fall. Great time to hit the distilleries. Please consider coming our way. But the one thing I would tell you when you do this, especially in the middle of COVID, make sure you plan ahead, call ahead, get your tickets. They don't do walk-ups. For safety reasons, maybe we'll get back there at some point. So make sure you call ahead and get your tickets. With that being said, you can call us. We will make sure we have our email and phone number on here. But now I'm going to have Mandy explain the cocktail that we're going to do, and a freezer cocktail, a freezer bourbon cocktail. I'm so excited. Take it away, Mandy.
So this is Sippin' with Steven. We got to get something in our glasses. When Steven asked us to develop a cocktail for Bourbon Heritage Month, I naturally thought September, busy. Like, we are just crushed in September. So what can I have on hand all the time? I don't have to do any work.
This is not laziness.
No.
This is just pre-planning.
Efficiency.
Yeah,
Planning,
exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
So I naturally thought of the freezer cocktail because I know in the past when I've been stressed out and I come home and there's a cocktail in the freezer, game changed. So I'm going to show you how I did it today. Just a mason jar, nothing special there. I made an old fashioned. So, it's 2 ounces of spirit to a bar spoon of simple syrup and then bitters. I used Bullet because this is our chairwoman right now is Diageo, so we're using Bullet. 2 ounces is 1/4 of a cup. So if you're making more than one cocktail, 4 drinks is a cup of whiskey. So I have my Movie Magic already here, nice and frosty. I put cinnamon sticks in mine. That is what is so fun about an old fashioned. You can do really anything you want. I've done apple peels before, orange peels. It can sit in your freezer as long as you want it to. The one thing I have heard, well, there's 2 things. You have to add water because it's already cold. You don't need the ice. You can put it over ice. You don't have to. I have heard with freezer cocktails, you want to dial down the bitters a little bit because as it develops in the freezer, it actually gets more bitter. So you can always add bitters when you serve it if you want more, but you can't take them out. So.
And we will have the recipe in the Fraser Virtual Newsletter for people to use. But we will pour some, and we will taste, and we're going to toast to National Bourbon Heritage Month.
And just one note, and I think Mandy's right. The reason you add a little bit of water is typically you would use a mixing glass and you're going to stir and you're going to get the dilution. You obviously don't have that in this case, so putting a little bit of that in there gives it that same flavor profile and taste that you know, and it's already made for you.
Well, let's raise our glasses, and we're going to have a toast to the Kentucky Distillers Association, to the Fraser, and to September being National Bourbon Heritage Month.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, that is fantastic.
Isn't this
I trust
nice?
you. I trust you with this, so I would definitely trust you with itineraries. Okay. Thank you,
well done.
folks.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Enjoy Bourbon Month.
Cheers.
Good job.